amazing women. Come on right around here. Maybe there's a little bit more room right over here. So this is Joni Inman. She's the executive director for the Jefferson County Business Education Alliance. She's a business consultant in Jefferson County and has been working with businesses for years. She is amazing and well known throughout the county as one of the experts in the business field. Do you know Sharon Usher? Have any of you guys met Sharon Usher before? Sharon Usher works for Jeffco Public Schools, and she does the executive internship program. So have you guys ever heard of that before? No? Okay. When it's Sharon's turn to present, she will explain a little bit about that to you. But right now, Ms. Joni is going to talk to you about leadership and business etiquette. And her presentation is going to be a whole lot of fun. So have fun.
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
Okay, so the one thing about me presenting is that I am not going to let you just sit here, and I'm also going to have you moving, and we're going to have you laughing a little bit, okay? So let's start with business etiquette. Why is it important to dress and behave like a professional? Why do you think?
It's because it shows that you, if you're going to, like, let's say a job interview, you want to say that you want to show them that you're determined to you have this position.
Yeah, that's one good reason. You want to show them that you're serious, right? Yeah.
That you actually care.
And that you actually care. Perfect, yeah. So let me tell you a little story. I worked with Earl Kemper. He was the International Business Coach of the Year 7 times running for Action Coach International. And when he was 30, he got in an elevator, and he was selling insurance at the time, and he had a suit on. And he's standing in the elevator, and a man gets in and he said, "Well, you look pretty nice, young man. What is it that you do?" And he said, "Well, I sell insurance." And he said, "Really? Well, here's my card. Give me a call." Earl got his first $1 million book of business. You know why? Because he was wearing a suit in an elevator. So there are a couple of things. Yes, we're focusing a lot on the job interview, and Sharon Usher's going to talk a lot about the job interview. But I will tell you that you should always care about your appearance wherever you go, right? Care, because you don't know who you're going to run into. A more recent story, today I was meeting with a client at Perkins at Union and Colfax. And our server's name was Joseph. And Joseph was fabulous. He was friendly, he was funny, he was well groomed. And I was meeting with Lisa Ward, who is the owner of Culinary Wave Catering. And we walked down, and Lisa handed Joe a card and said, "I love the service you provided, and I want to talk to you about hiring you to come work for Culinary Wave." Right? He didn't know that. He was just putting his best foot forward. So business attire is one way to do that. Meeting and greeting people appropriately is another way to do that. Dining right, okay? I was seated with a woman in a business lunch one time. It is a professional. She was a professional at a corporate lunch, and she was using her hands to scoop peas onto her fork. Well, first of all, she was doing this. She was left-handed, so she was scooping it with her right hand. And I did not want to shake that woman's hand afterwards, nor did I want to do business with her. Nor would I have ever hired her, right? Would you? Would you do that? No, don't go. I don't know, maybe if she was good. No, you would not, right? So we want to make sure that we're always behaving properly. We're going to pass through handling the check, because you're probably not going to be handling the check at a business lunch, but we can talk about that later. And you're probably not going to be discussing business at business lunch very much, but come back and see me. We're going to do these. We're going to do these for adults through the years, and I want you to come back when you're actually hosting business lunches. Okay? So let's take a look at dressing appropriately. Okay? Now, I give you a little bit of preamble to this. There is business attire, there's formal business attire, there's business attire, there's business casual attire, and there's casual attire. Okay? And in some places, there's yachting attire. I saw an invitation that said, "Wear your best yachting attire." Okay, well, I can't help you with that. But I can help you with business, casual, and casual. Nick, can you hit the video for me, please? You have to actually hit the... Okay, yeah, see the, there you go. But can you make it bigger?
Now, because this is a corporate event, I was actually going to put on a dress gift.
We did this, and we practiced this a second ago, so we'll get it for you. But in the meantime, I'm going to tell you, while Nick's getting this figured out, business casual is the most abused category anywhere. Business casual does not mean, it means one step below business attire. It does not mean one step above grunge. Business casual does not mean sandals, Birkenstocks, spaghetti straps, right? It means one step below business attire. I don't know how to make it bigger, but I can get the video started.
No, it's wait, not respond.
You were just doing it bigger a second ago.
Not respond.
No, it's not responding. Yeah, let me do it one more.
Because you're basically
Okay. Close. We have a little bit of a glitch, so bear with us here for a minute.
While they're doing that, who's gonna be here on Friday for the interview? Is everybody gonna be here Friday for the interviews? Yes, 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 okay. Just wanna make sure. I know how many interviewers I need.
Okay, here we go.
Now, because this is a corporate event, I was actually going to put on a dress gift, business casual, whatever. Because I knew a lot of these corporate events were like, what is business casual? It completely depends on what company you're at, where you are in the United States, what the function is. I worked at IBM, okay? Here's business standards for IBM. That's IBM Business. Here's IBM Business Casual, non-power tie. And then here's IBM Casual, non-white shirt. Then you got Texas, okay? Here's business in Texas. Here's business casual in Texas. And then here's casual in Texas. Apparently we found a winner in this crowd. Now what really makes me laugh is that this is how they always picture engineers. Actually, it's pretty close, isn't it? This is kind of right out of my wife trusts me, can you tell? And this is how they always imagine. This probably much is probably engineer real life casual. That's real life casual Friday. And then that's engineer preferred. I think they just like to be there in their t-shirt. On the other hand, IT, they always group IT and engineers together, and they're different, because IT imagined is, in real life is more like that, and then IT preferred, I think, is what we'd like to see.
Okay, all right. So let's get on with the real stuff, right? And I'm going to tell you that in the very back of your notebook behind tab 5, you have this, but don't turn to it. But I want you to know you don't have to take notes because you've got this all written down. It's behind tab 5, okay? So let's talk about how you decide what to wear. It's best to try to mirror the company that you're going into, except when you're doing a job interview. When you're doing a job interview, you want to mirror the company you're walking into and ratchet it up one step, okay? So if I'm going into a company that is, if I'm going into a retail establishment and they wear business casual, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I want to go into that interview in business clothes. Okay? So what does that mean? Okay, so women, formal business. If you're going on a job interview at a law firm, a CPA firm, something like that, you want to wear suits. And by the way, suits that are blue, black, navy, charcoal, or taupe. Not orange, not yellow, not stripes, not goopy, okay? You want to wear hose, okay? Pantyhose. You want to make sure that you're covering the girls, okay? So nothing's showing. And you want to be very formal. Now, you can when we go to business attire, you can go bare-legged in the summer if your legs are shaved and tan. Men should wear suits and formal business clothes, blue, black, navy, charcoal, not white, not taupe, not, we don't want to look pimpy. Shoes and socks that are as dark as pants. Okay? Pay attention. Okay. Business attire. The difference between formal business attire and business attire. I told you you'd laugh, right? I told you you're like chuckling at me. Okay. Women, business attire are suits and dresses. Okay? Or do you notice the difference? Formal business attire, women are in suits too. They can be slacks or skirts, but they're suits. Business attire, dresses, skirts and blouses with blazers. Men, suits. Dress pants, shirt, and a tie with a sport coat. Women, casual. Okay? This would be business casual. No, we don't want to go like that. Pants, no jeans. This is business casual. Pants, no jeans.
Still slacks.
Pardon me?
So still slacks. Right?
Slacks, yes.
This
Business
is what
casual.
she's talking about, you're wearing on Friday. for your
Yes, I
interview.
am, and if you need some help with that, let Dot know, and we'll make sure you're appropriately dressed. We have avenues for that. This is Friday, okay? Pants, no jeans. If you don't have pants, if you only have jeans, we'll try to swiftly round something up for you. Dresses or skirts with sweaters, or twin sets. You know what a twin set is? Okay, nobody does. It's a matching shirt with a matching cover. So you might have a tank top under here, same fabric, a sweater, something like that. Two pieces, but they match. Styled jean jackets are okay. For men, khaki pants or Dockers. Dockers is just a brand for khaki pants. Button-down shirts, no tie. And sports coats are optional.
I would recommend, gentlemen, you wear a tie on Friday.
And loafers. Yes,
Your
we want you in business attire primarily, no lower than business casual, preferably business, yes.
What kind of shoes would you wear?
Shoes are, for women, no sneakers, right? Shoes, any kind of a little heel you have is fine. Stylish boots would be okay, but you don't want to wear sandals. You don't want to be bare feet. You don't want to wear what I call in the adult class sex kitten shoes. Okay? Okay, you don't want to be on like 10-inch shoes and, you know, okay. So I just gave you the adult class version, okay. So, but just not sneakers primarily and not sandals, okay? Yes.
So we can have flats?
Flats are fine. Mhm. Yeah, flats are fine. Yeah. Okay, so let's have some models up here. Miss Sharon, would you stand up? What is Miss Sharon dressed like today? What would you say?
I'm gonna say casual.
Do you agree? Casual? You put your jacket on? By the way, you can get a sport coat for about $6 at Goodwill or Ark or something. Okay? What's you dressed like now?
That's casual. Business.
Business casual? She could go business in this, because you know why? Because that's a full suit. The bottom matches the top, that's one fabric, right? Okay. Miss Dot? What is Miss Dot dressed like?
Minus the dog hair.
Which changes everything.
Yes.
What do you think? Say it louder, I can't hear you.
Casual.
Yeah? Everybody agree? Yeah, casual. Nick, come up here, bud. Okay, this is a tricky one, because I want you to look at his feet as well.
Oh, busting off one, hey.
Okay, how's he dressed?
Between like, business casual and formal.
Somewhere in there?
Somewhere around
Okay. So if Nick is in a full suit, if he had a tie and his dress shoes, he would be dressed in business, formal business attire. If he had loafers on instead of sneakers, he'd be dressed in business clothes. As he is now, he's dressed in business casual because of the shoes. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, what about me? Well, I have a blazer on, I have hose on, right?
So,
My suit doesn't match my top and bottom. Pardon me? No, it's not formal because my top doesn't match my bottom, same fabric. I'm dressed in business attire today. Okay? All right, there's a funny clicking there.
It happens. We hear all kinds of
That was
sounds.
applause. Oh, you did so well. That was great, that was applause. Okay, all right. So that gives you a little bit of an idea. Now, I also recommend when you go on, now Dot wears some really nice business dresses that are sleeveless, okay? And that's perfectly fine in a business environment. I recommend if you go to a job interview, you don't wear sleeveless. Would you concur, Sharon and Todd? Yeah, don't wear sleeveless. Wait till you get the job. All right. All right, now let's go into, real swiftly, we'll just hit the highlights on business lunches. Let's say you go to work for a company, an insurance company, we'll just say that, and they want to include you in a business lunch. I have a niece that works as a secretary in an insurance company. They always include her, right? So the person who sets the lunch chooses the restaurant and always arrives first. So if you're inviting somebody to lunch, you make sure you arrive first. You wait for your guests to arrive. We're going to go fast through this. And you open your door for your guests. Now, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this, regardless of gender. So you've invited John Elway to lunch, okay? That's what I usually use, right? So you're waiting, what's your name?
Maddie.
Maddie, you're waiting for John, okay? You've chosen the restaurant, you're waiting for John, and here he comes. You're not sitting first. Even though they may ask you, would you like to be seated? You say, no, I'd like to wait for my guest, okay? And then you see him coming and you go open the door for him, okay? Okay, and you assist him with his coat. So, what's your name, Nick?
Nick.
I remember that one. This Nick is my son, by the way. Nick, John comes and he's a guy. Got a coat on. What are you gonna do?
Take it for him.
You're gonna, yes, you will. Okay, all right. So now we're gonna talk about shaking hands, because the very first thing you do is you shake hands, right? With somebody when you meet them. Okay, hit the video. We're gonna talk about shaking hands.
High-fiving can be one of the most stressful things you'll ever do in life. It doesn't have to be, though. Just remember this simple list of tips and tricks. Pressure, not too hard, and definitely not too soft. Timing, don't start too soon unless you only want to wave in return. You'll know you're in the 5 zone when your partner is roughly the distance you can throw a microwave. Location, pretty much anywhere is fine except for funerals and urinals. Now watch out for the ball and socket. This is where one partner goes for the high five and one goes for the fist pound. In the event of a foul tip where a temporary loss in concentration turns the high five into a high two, just keep walking and never turn back. If you completely miss, just pretend you meant to. As far as your partner is concerned, it's just one of these crazy things you do. And beware of the faker. This guy is always ready to fake the high five and quick grab his way to an awkward one-way handshake. Just go with it. There's nothing you can do in this situation. If there's a chance you'll be in proximity to the killer, carry an ice pack in your back pocket. He'll want to display his strength by slapping your hand as hard as he can. Be prepared to go with the flow. You never know when you're going to encounter the snapper, or even worse, the 12-stepper. Mere palm contact will never be enough for these guys. If you're ever tempted to try out the two-handed jumper, the spank, the you're too slow, the windmill, the Fresh Prince, the Chester, or especially the around the back, through the legs, palm spit piggybacker, please refrain. Now you're ready for the high five. Join us next week on Out of the Office Etiquette as we discuss how to casually brag about your accomplishments when no one asks.
Okay, so is the high five appropriate when you meet somebody in a business situation? No? Can I have a guinea pig with me for a minute? I'm going to teach you how to properly shake hands, and then I want you to do it, okay? So I want you to stand up and face each other. There's 6 of you, and I want you to shake each other's hands and introduce yourself. And then we're going to show you how to do it right. Go ahead, shake hands. Pretty good. Okay, so here's how you do it. Look them in the eye, web to web on the hands. Gentle pressure, not too light, not too soft, okay? Men, you're not going to break a woman's hand. Same way you shake a hand of a guy, and not too hard, right? Ladies, you are not the Queen of England. You don't go like this, right? You don't do that. And if you have gloves on, you remove the gloves unless you are the queen. You can do whatever you want. Okay. So then you look in each other's eyes. You lean slightly forward, 2 to 3 shakes from the elbow. Okay. And then you step back. Okay. So you don't hang on to somebody either, and boy, I've had this, women, you'll encounter this with a guy. Hi, I'm good, how are you? Good, good. Good, you know, it's like, okay, all right, we don't want to do that. So let's practice it again, okay? So remember, I'm going to tell you, remember, web to web, okay? Slide forward in the eyes, smile, hello, and then 2 to 3 from the elbow, okay? 2 to 3 from the elbow, and then release, okay? So, go. Hello. Okay, let's shake hands with them, shall we, Sharon?
All right.
Okay, hi.
Hi, I'm Sharon.
A little bit firmer. A little bit firmer.
Hi, I'm Sharon.
Look at me.
I'm Patty.
Hi, how are you? Excellent. 2 to 3 from here. Hi,
Hi, Anissa. I'm Sharon.
how are you? Good. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Okay. All right, no, seriously, web to web. 2 to 3 from the elbow, not from the whole arm.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, good, okay. All right, why don't you practice it with your parents or your brothers later? Okay, your brothers will make sure you get that right. Okay, so we have now learned how to shake hands. Okay, so hold on to your hand, not too long, not too soon. Don't wait too long. Lean forward slightly. Push your hand into the other webs touching, hand and fingers firm, not too loose, not too limp, not too hard. Range of motion, 2 to 3 inches, shaking from the elbow, not the shoulder. You just did it. You got it. Great. 2 to 3 seconds, not 5 minutes. Okay. Now, introducing somebody. Okay? This is tough, right? Ooh, wow. How do you introduce somebody? Now, you've probably heard, or maybe you haven't yet, my mother told me, introduce the oldest person first. Well, what does that mean? Introduce the oldest person first. Right? I don't know. Dot is older than Nick, so does that mean what do I do, right? I'm introducing Dot to Nick, or Nick to Dot, or, what am I doing? Okay, so you say the most important person's name first. Forget about age. The most important person, okay? And by the way, it says introduce your spouse, but if you have a girlfriend, or your mother, or your father, or your brother, or your sister with you, they are an extension of you, right? You are not the most important person. Hard to believe. So you say the most important person's name first. So you have the president, you're introducing him to the governor. Whose name do you say first?
The president.
The president. You have John Elway and you have the governor. Whose name do you say first?
The governor.
The governor, that's right, because elected officials are always most important. Okay. You are introducing your employer to your mother. Whose name do you say first? No, your mother's an extension of you, your boss. Okay? So forget about the whole age thing, right? Say the most important name first, right? And don't, when people get confused and they go, John, Sue, Joe, that's disrespectful, right? Figure it out. Okay? If you get down to equals, then you can try to do age and you do the older person first. I would never call Don elder, the older person first, right? Okay. All right, so let's do a few more. Do you have any questions on that one? No? You say the most important person's name first. And you're going to say, Governor, I would like to introduce John. You don't say, I want you to meet. Okay, Governor, I'd like to introduce John Elway to you. Okay. You would say your boss's name is Mr. Smith. You would say, Mr. Smith, I'd like for you to meet my brother. Okay? My father. Okay? This is all in the back of your notebook if you forget. We're going to skip this one. Okay. And we're going to talk about dining. Okay? It gets confusing. Who sits where? Okay, if you can't read that, this is perfect for Thanksgiving. Okay, Janet, you can't stand your sister, so you go sit over there. Jason, you think Teresa's a jerk, so you'll have to sit over there to my left. Okay. But there are rules for sitting at a business meeting, at a business lunch, at a business banquet, okay? The host seats the honored guest first. So if you are coming as part of your employer, you wait until your boss seats the guest first. The person of honor is seated to the host's right, it's all in your notebook, and the host sits down last. So then you are seated after your boss seats the guest of honor. So after John Elway sits, then you can. If you are wearing a business jacket, it stays on and buttoned during the business lunch or dinner. You can unbutton the bottom one if it doesn't, so it doesn't punch up. And you stand up when introduced. Now I want to tell you something. I'm the former Vice President of Public Affairs at St. Anthony Hospital. And I oversaw public relations and public affairs, and I had a staff of people who should know this. And the school superintendent walked into a restaurant, former Superintendent Cindy Stevenson, and we were seated, me and my staff, at the restaurant. And I stood up and I said, Mrs. Stevenson, I would like for you to meet my staff. Not a single one of them stood up to shake her hand. Not one.
I would fire the staff.
Did you hear her? She said I'd fire him. Okay? It wasn't a pleasant conversation after that. That is actually when I thought somebody needs to teach etiquette. Okay. So, oh, that's confusing, isn't it? Look at that. Okay. So the person of honor also orders first. You don't order first unless you are the person of honor. And of course, you're not going to order alcohol anyway. Okay? You wait for the host to place their napkin on their lap, and then you do so. So you're always watching the host and following the host, right? Now, in small groups, this is always confusing. You wait to eat until the host begins, but if you are in a big group, a large group, like you're at a banquet, right? You wait until everybody's been served the first course, then you can eat. So if you walk into a banquet or a meal and there are salads at the tables, that's the first course, and everybody at the table has the opportunity to begin eating that first course, you may start. Okay? If they're serving, waiters are coming out and serving a table of 8 to 10, and you wait until everybody at the table has the opportunity to eat. Again, in the back of your notebooks. Okay, great trick. You ever wondered, you've been to a restaurant where you had a bread plate and a glass of water and you weren't sure whose was yours? Yes.
I was just gonna say with, you wait until everybody has a chance to eat first.
Uh-huh.
We do the same thing in my family.
Yeah.
We wait until my grandparents take the first bite.
There you go. So there you go. That's very honorable to your grandparents. That's excellent. That's that they are the honored guests. That's perfect. Thanksgiving's coming up. This is a good one. How do you pass? You pass your food counter. It's counterintuitive. You pass counterclockwise. Counterintuitive, but you pass counterclockwise. Okay. So how can you tell if it's your bread plate? You got a big table set, and there's bread plates, and there's glasses. How can you tell? Quick. You make a B and a D with your hand. Okay? Make a B and a D. Where the B is, that's your bread plate. Where the D is, that's your drink. Okay?
So it's always gonna be on the left.
It's cool, huh? Yeah. So, but if you forget, you go, what'd she say? Left or right? B and D. The B is for the bread. The D is for the drink. That's how you know. Okay?
You'd be surprised how many adults do that when you're
Yes.
sitting down at the table. You'll see them. They'll go,
It's true.
I'm not kidding. You'll see it.
Okay, olive oil gets passed, you don't dunk into the plate, you take a little, put it on your bread plate. Counterintuitive, bread basket's in front of you, you pass it and wait for it to come back. I'm kind of hurrying because I know we're... Okay, so, hit the video, dining etiquette. Any of you seen this? What's wrong with that?
Everything.
Everything.
Except the girls, it's okay.
So what? You don't want to slurp, right? Right? You don't want to slurp. What else?
You don't want to
Keeping
check
your
your
mouth
Don't
closed.
want to chug your drink. Don't want to what?
Keep your mouth closed.
Don't want to, that's right. You also don't want to like completely lean over your plate, right? Bring your food to you. That's hard. If you can't do it, don't order it.
Take your elbows off the table.
Take your elbows off the table.
Don't burp out loud.
Don't burp out loud.
Don't blow your nose.
What was that?
Don't blow your nose.
Don't blow your nose at the table.
Ask to be excused.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are some other things, okay? Don't whisper to each other if you are in any business meeting. If you are in a class like this, if you are in a business lunch, don't be whispering during a presentation. Don't do it. You guys are behaving very well, but if you were whispering, I'd say, apparently you don't want to hear what I have to say, so it's okay if you leave. And when I train 100, 200, 300 people, I'll stop if I hear a cell phone go off. And I'll do that. Be respectful. No shoveling, no touching your food except bread or shellfish. What about bacon? Yes, you can use your fingers for bacon. What about pizza?
No.
Yes, you can use your fingers for pizza. And here's one my son taught me. I didn't know, didn't believe in, and I looked it up and he's right. What is it, Nick? Asparagus. You can eat asparagus. You can actually pick up grilled asparagus with your fingers. All right, so other tips. Cell phone went off in a concert hall. No, bad, okay. Don't whisper. Silence your phone and keep it in your pocket. Would you please put that in your pocket? Thank you. When done eating, fold your napkin and place it to the left of your plate. Don't put it on top of your dirty plate. That signals the waitstaff that you're done. Okay, we don't need to worry about handling the check just yet. Okay, any questions before we shift to leadership real quickly? Okay, why don't you take a second, review what's behind, and Dot has something she's going to hand out, and I'm going to go to leadership.
I'm gonna show you one thing. If you don't mind for a second.
Okay.
How many of you have to set the table?
I was
Okay,
just gonna say that.
Thanksgiving
Forks
is
and
coming.
spoons.
All right, so, forgive my lovely drawing here, okay? If you remember this is your fork, your O for the plate. To the right of the plate is the knife and the spoon. So if you spell forks, you can remember what direction is the fork, the knife, the spoon,
That's cool.
okay?
The other thing is fork has 4 letters and so does the word left. Spoon and knife both have 5 letters and so does the word right. That was the way I learned it. That's a pretty cool drawing. So while they're looking up the leadership information, this is a program, the American Job Center. It's a governor's job program. And they always love to hear from our career-ready students when you are looking for a job. So what you do is you go onto this website, you go to Connecting Colorado. The website's right there in the circle, connectingcolorado.com. And you fill out your information, and then you will receive jobs in the parameters for which you have requested. So you'll see all those summer jobs. So you want to go ahead and do that after the first of the year, so that you'll get email alerts with jobs that are coming up if you're looking for a summer job, or if you're looking for a job now. Okay?
What is your name? I'm Joni, Joni, Inman, and it's on that, it is on behind tab 5 in your business etiquette handout. That's where it is. Thank you. Now we're going to work off of this worksheet rather than pull up the video. So I want you to take one of each of me. Take this one first. And as I'm passing these around, I want to ask you what you think a leader is. Just grab it, don't look at it yet. What's your version of a leader? Yes?
Someone who takes charge.
Someone who takes charge. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Has experience.
has experience, okay? Anybody else? What about this row over here that's been really quiet? Tell me about a leader.
Basically, a leader would be like dynamics, and they take charge and they have the experience to show the workers like how this work is to be done and what is to be expected of it.
Okay, anybody else? No? Okay, how many of you have been told in your classes you can be a leader? Anybody can be a leader. Did you get the handout back here? Did you get all the way back? Okay, all right. So there's a speaker by the name of John Maxwell. He has sold more leadership books than anybody else on Amazon. And John Maxwell says there are 5 levels of leadership, okay? So would you say the President of the United States is a leader? Probably. What? In the case of being political, yes.
Yeah, maybe.
You would, okay. Would you say the principal of this school is a leader?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, there are 5 different levels of leadership, so follow from the bottom. The first is a leader who is a leader strictly because of their position. This might be your first boss. You go out and get a job. Your supervisor could be 17 years old and be the assistant manager of Sonic Drive-Ins. That is a leader, not necessarily for any other reason than the fact that they are in a position of leadership, right? Yes? Oh, you didn't get it? Okay. Oh, you're gonna get all of these. All right. So, the second is somebody who gives you permission, right? A permissional leader. People follow them because they want to, because they like them, right? So there's somebody in your school who you can imagine just everybody's attracted to them. They go, you walk into a room and everybody goes and glomps onto them, right? You might call it popular, right? I don't call it popular. It's got to be somebody who people just like to be around. They like to be around them. And so they're a leader. Now they can lead you into trouble and they can lead you into good things. But you're around them because you like them. You move up the leadership ladder, so we all want to reach the pinnacle of leadership, which is the fifth step. You move up into production. Somebody's a leader because of what they've done for the organization. That could be your class, your school, your job, your work, because of something they've done. Okay, so an example of that would be somebody in the community who raised a lot of money to fund the Jefferson County Business Education Alliance. Okay, they did something, they produced results, right? They're a leader, a step 3 leader. Right? The 4th step are people who people just admire and they think, oh, I wish I could be like him or like her. I really wish I could be like him or like her. Okay. Those are generally more visible people, right? It might be a pastor in your church. It might be somebody really who might be Steve Jobs, or somebody who has really reached a certain level of being well known. People like them. They just, you admire them and you want to be like them. And it's not because they're making you want to be like them. You just want to be like them. And then the top level is pinnacle is people respect you. You live up to your word. You do what you're saying. You're enjoyable to be around. Right? You pay attention. You represent, you walk your talk. You represent yourself and your integrity. In the military, you heard from Nick. What kind of leaders do we have in the military? Yes.
Mostly generals, captains, and the president.
Those are their positions, right? Okay. Now, do you think just because somebody's appointed a general, the troops will follow him? Just, okay, you're the general today. Okay. Probably not, right? They have to also earn that respect. They have to have integrity. They have to do what they say they're gonna do. People wanna be around, people wanna be like them. Okay, can you think of any other examples? Okay, let's show the video. I want you to tell me who the leader is in this video.
With the Sun Motors. We must build spirit. We must be a team, one with one purpose only. Everyone thinking only of company. We will begin with our morning exercises.
Jumping duck.
Let's go. Yeah. We're not having a good beginning.
Yeah, well, see, these guys aren't really used to getting up in the morning.
I do not blame you, even though you are the leader.
Okay, sit tight.
Hey,
Chacho. I say we do it.
bullshit, man.
Oh, wait, we're getting crazy. Come on. Why not?
We never exercise.
You know what this is like? You know what this is? It's like the first week in high school. If you wore jeans, you got in big trouble. Right by October, they didn't care if you wore pants, which you didn't a couple times. This is one time, all right. But anyway, do it a couple days, they'll forget about it. I'm telling you.
Duck. Hop.
Duck hunt.
Okay.
Okay, who's the leader? It's Michael Keaton, that's the Michael Keaton? Yeah, say that again?
The one who played Beetlejuice.
Yeah, he's the same one that played Beetlejuice, right? Yeah. It's Michael Keaton. Yeah. Now, do you think, so the other one owns the company. Position makes him a leader, right? What made Michael Keaton a leader? Did people followed him because they wanted to, right? People followed him because of what he's done. People followed him because of what he can do, what he's done for them. He, by the way, if you watch the whole movie, he really helped, okay, the workers. And people followed him because of who he was and what he represented. Now, could he walk in on the first day of work? It's very free. Can you be the leader on day one? Yeah. Because why? You have to earn it. You have to earn it. Okay. So here you go. Here's how we're going to earn it. Let's pass those around. Okay. Now, has anybody ever heard of Stephen Covey? You ever heard of Stephen Covey? Stephen Covey does, I'm done with the computer, give me one minute. Stephen Covey is, he wrote a number of books on business productivity and leadership. And what Stephen Covey says is this is the ladder to leadership. So to reach that pinnacle that John Maxwell talked about, we have to follow this continuum. This is very important. So start with number 13. You extend trust. So I want you to place yourself in a new job. You're walking in and you want to develop yourself as a leader, right? You have to trust the people you're working with. Don't look for a problem right away. There might not, I know you all learn about problem solving because you do that in school. You learn how to identify a problem and solve that problem. Sometimes a problem doesn't exist. So don't just go out looking for the problems, right? Trust that you are walking into a healthy environment, okay? Then you want to keep your commitments. If you say you're going to be at work at 3 o'clock, you arrive at 10 minutes till 3. Not walk in, okay, 10 minutes till 3 to make sure that you're here on time, that you're wherever on time, okay? Early, okay? You listen first. So you're walking into a new job and you're being trained, you listen, you don't talk about what's wrong or how you know how to do it better, right? You practice being accountable. If you make a mistake, how would you handle it if you were being accountable? Say it louder.
You take the responsibility.
You take the responsibility. I've had employees who have said to me, I really, really, really messed up. Okay. I represented mayors, 4 of them, okay. I've had employees in public information roles who said, oh my gosh, I said that Mayor Burkholder supported this thing and he doesn't. That's pretty big, right? And so me as a boss, I'm like, great, she came and told me, you know, so, okay, so what should we do about it? So you're accountable for doing it, not just saying, I did it, but I did it, and here's what I think I need to do to fix it, right? Clarify expectations. So you go into a job, you don't know exactly, even what they're training you, it's okay, it's more than okay, you're encouraged to say, I need clarity on this. I'm not quite getting it. Can you please be a little bit more clear with me? Okay, they will appreciate that. Don't just try to get it done. Confront reality. Okay, what does that mean? Anybody have an idea what that means?
It's basically like you want to face like whatever consequences you made yourself, like you need to like be upfront about it, you need to admit that you did this and you want to resolve like what you
That's a good one. Good example is kind of you take the consequences, you admit it, it's real, I did it, okay. What about, I want to be the manager of the Egg and I'm coming in as a server. Okay. Now, is the reality that you're going to be the manager in day 2 or day 3 or day 23? No. So don't let yourself go. It doesn't mean you'll never be, but be realistic with yourself about what is really possible. Get better at what you do. No matter how long you were in a job, no matter how long you were in school, get better at what you do. I've been in the business world for many, many, many years. And I still read. And I still watch training videos. And I still ask people for what works best in their business. So get better, better, better all the time. Deliver results. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Show loyalty. Never walk out of your place of business and bad talk your employer. Never, ever. Be loyal. Even if you don't like being there, you don't have to stay. You can go find another job. But do not badmouth your employer. Display loyalty. Right wrongs. Okay, this is important where you are. If you see somebody being bullied, this is important. Step up. Right those wrongs, okay? Create transparency. Be clear and open about things that are happening. Demonstrate respect and talk straight. And don't talk behind people's backs. Okay, talk straight. Now you follow that and you're on the trajectory towards leadership. So here are some guidelines. Remain humble. Don't ever think you've arrived, because the world will teach you you have not. Right? Continue to strive. Maintain your core focus. Don't allow yourself to be distracted by things. Stay focused. And create the right inner circle to keep you grounded. This is really important for you in your entire life. Now, you probably hear your parents say, hang out with people who are good for you to hang out with. That's true, right? It's true when you're your age, it's true when you're my age. Okay. Surround your inner circle with people who represent your values, are honest with you, and can add value to you. Okay. And then plan your legacy. Don't let somebody else say he or she was this or did that or whatever. You create what you want your life to be. You create it, you think about it, and you live it on purpose every day, okay? Okay, so that's brief on leadership. I'm late. Turning it over to Mrs. Usher, so I'm gonna do that right now. I don't even know if are you still Mrs. Usher?
I am.
She just got married, so. Okay.
I am.
So thank you. If you have any quick questions while she's handing them out, I'll take them. Otherwise, put your hand up then. Okay? Hope that's helpful. Hope you had some fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alright, so my part is to talk to you about effective interviews. And I know, I've got a quick 30 minutes. You've got a handout, it's gonna walk you through some interview questions and answers and things like that, but I wanna just talk to you for a quick 30 minutes on what this is gonna look like. First of all, who can tell me, how did you get to the point of getting the interview? What happened prior to this? You applied, okay? You applied through an application, or you gave someone your resume, and they have called and they want to meet you. Everybody agree that's where we are in this process? So let me stop and tell you, they've looked at who you are or what you have on paper. Everybody agree? You wrote it, I've had a previous job, or I have these skills, I've had these classes. So they are ready to meet you because you have something they're looking for. I want that up here. So you only have to go in and let them know who you are. That's an interview. So I want you to not panic. There isn't a reason to panic for an interview. You just need to go in and be yourself. So there are some ways to prepare, and we're going to take a look at that. But know that you've already taken the biggest step. You've gotten them to call you. And that's what it's going to take to get that interview is, did you fill out the application correctly? And let me back up a couple minutes and say, when you're filling out an application, and let's say there's an area on the application that asks about your military training, and none of you have military training, agree? What do we do with that spot? What do? There's a space on the application that asks about your military training. Why? What does NA stand for? Not applicable, okay? Doesn't apply to me. Don't leave things blank. Blank says, I totally ignored that. Blank says, I didn't feel like telling you the answer to that. Blank gives all the wrong meaning. So let me go back and just say, if you're filling out an application and there's a part on there that doesn't apply, put an N/A for not applicable. So that they're not wondering, did you miss that question or did you refuse to answer that question? Does that make sense? Okay, so you've answered everything they've called, we're ready for an interview. So the first part of this walks you through what are you going to do as soon as you get to the place where you're going to interview. And the first thing is, you have to arrive on time. Now, lovely Google Maps or whatever you use, you can put it into your GPS and you can get yourself there. So you're going to rely on that and think, no problem, I can get there. Please, take a look, take a trial run, do something to figure out exactly where it needs to be. So initially, I was introduced as running the Executive High School Internship Program. So I work with 200 high school seniors from all 18 high schools, including Arvada, in Jefferson County, and I place them with businesses for a 100-hour internship. This time of the year, I have 147 of those interns who are reaching the end of their 100 hours, and I physically go to the businesses to meet them. I happened to come across one the other day where it required me to find a parking space. So I knew I had, it was maybe a 20-minute drive, and I had allowed myself the 20 minutes, but I couldn't find a parking space. So luckily I had enough time planned in advance that if something like that happened, so I'm going around the block, but around the block meant the light, and then you turn and you always hit that next light is red, and then I have to come around the block again, and I'm hunting for a parking spot, so I had to give myself that extra time. Make sure you're arriving 10 to 15 minutes ahead of when you're supposed to be there. Okay, everybody agree? We've got that planned. So if my MapQuest said it's going to take me 18 minutes to get there, why don't you just put in your head, I'm going to give myself 30. And maybe you're in the car and you're gonna sit in the car for a couple minutes so that you're not arriving too early, but at least you're there, you're prepared, and you're ready to go. All right, so that's the first thing. Now I walk into whatever this business is, and I'm gonna say a business versus a retail store, but it doesn't really matter, whatever it is you're applying for. It could be McDonald's. And you walk up, let's say it's McDonald's, and I walked up to the counter, and they say, our manager's busy right now, but why don't you go ahead and have a seat? So really important what this next part looks like. So what are you going to do? I bet I can name, what do you think you're gonna do? You've just been told to wait, it's gonna be another 5 minutes. What's the instinct of almost everybody now in the United States would do what? Pull out your phone, okay? Refrain, don't pull out your phone. I know, it's the way we kill time, it's what we do. But you don't know who's watching. So make sure that you're just going to sit there, go over in your head, how would I answer this question, what are my strengths, things like that. So I say this because let's say it's a business office and you've walked in and there was a receptionist. If you have the ability to make conversation with this person, now if they're on the phone, obviously you can't do that. Or if you happen to be at McDonald's and there's people there. But if there aren't people there, make conversation with the person that's not the person you're meeting, but the person you have just met. Because more than likely, they're gonna be a coworker and they're gonna turn around and say, so of all the people that came in here, who is it you like the best? Oh, well, I like so-and-so because as soon as he got here, he struck up a conversation and asked how I was doing. A way of striking up a conversation with someone, take a look around. If you're in their office and there's a picture right there of a dog, what might you say?
What kind of dog is that?
Okay, what kind of dog is that? Oh, you've got a boxer, my neighbors have boxers. Doesn't matter, you're making conversation, you're breaking the ice, you're making it more comfortable for you. Because that's what this is all about. You're all uptight, you're going to an interview, and you want something that's gonna break the ice, right? All right, so now you're there. First impressions, Joni talked about how you're going to look. Your first impression is a big deal. What you look like, how you present yourself. Isn't always exactly the clothes, but how you're sitting, how you stand, and how you talk. So if I go into my interview, hi, I'm Sharon, how are you? Okay, this is awful. We already had that one today, right? It's eye contact, and what's the matter when I talk like this?
Quiet.
I'm way too quiet and timid and I'm scared to death, okay? So, it's not the great first impression. So get it inside you, bring it out, and say, hi, my name is Sharon, I'm so happy to meet you, all right? Bring it in, they wanted to meet you, so don't be afraid. Come out and give them full voice. So you're gonna wanna take a look through this, but I wanna go through as fast as I can so we can hit everything. You're going to work for a company. Right now you have zero reason why you can't research a company. Back when we would have to go to the library or we'd have to find someone who worked for a company. You don't have that, you can Google. Google's wonderful. Go find out about the company, go find out about the business, go find out who they are. I know if I talk McDonald's, there's owners that own several McDonald's around here. So you might find out something about them. Do some homework. So when you get in there to get an interview, you make sure you find a way to drop that information. Oh, well, I saw that you own 3 of the McDonald's in the neighborhood. How impressive would that be? Okay, very impressed you did some homework, you found out something about us. So, can be a store in the mall, I see you just moved in 3 months ago, or whatever. Find out something so that you can kind of drop a hint to say, you've done your homework. You've looked up, you're researching them, you know who they are, you know something about them. As you get more into business, that's gonna be really important for companies that you're going to. But I know, if we start with your first jobs and so on, but work it up, learn all about them, get on and make sure you do your research. Next thing is the cell phone. Refrain from pulling out your cell phone. So you pull it out just because that's your clock nowadays, right? You don't wear a watch. I actually had to go through my jewelry box. I went through about 6 watches before I found one that the battery was working on. But I wanted to wear one for a purpose. In the fact that if you're going for an interview, this says I have control of time. I am good at time management because I wore a watch. Now you can't tell if it's working, it is by the way. But find a watch, put it on, it does say that I have control of time. I'm good at time management. and I'm not having to pull out my phone, which that receptionist might have thought, oh, she looked at her phone the whole time she was here. Truly, you just wanted to go, oh, it's been 10 minutes, oh, it's been 12 minutes, oh, it's been 14 minutes. So keep the phone away, but consider wearing a watch for that reason. You want to come in, we've already talked, you want to show enthusiasm. You're happy to be there. You're really thankful that they're giving you this opportunity. They want to come in and meet you. How nice of them, right? Take their time because they want to meet you. So it goes two ways in an interview. You want to think ahead of time, what might that company need? So if I'm looking at McDonald's, what are some of the skills that someone would want to work at McDonald's? What would you need? Okay, being a cashier, being good with, maybe you've never had a job. So how can I say I'm good as being a cashier? But you might say, you know, I manage my money very well. I have a checking account or a savings account or something that lets them know you have some money management skills. What else? What do you like to see when you go to McDonald's? What do you want to see from that person behind the counter?
Good attitude.
Okay, that you have a friendly, you know, please come over and let me help you, that you're friendly, that you're welcoming, that it looks like I want to help you. So good customer service skills. A smile on your face does that, okay? Not a frown, not a what do you want now, what can I get you? So your body language is huge. So take a look at what skills they might want and figure out how you would prove to them you have them. It's all about the proof. So if I'm gonna do an inventory, and usually you read a job description, right? So we are looking for hardworking, flexible, young professionals. That's all it told you. How can you tell me that you're hardworking? Give me an example. Anybody? Hardworking. Nobody's hardworking in here? Come on. Get your homework done on time, okay? Take a full load of classes. You have chores to do at home, and you know that if you get them done, well, lucky you. You know that if you get them done, then you get to go do what you want to do. Those are the type of things that you can use as examples. So before the interview, think of what they're looking for. How are you going to prove you're flexible? They want a flexible employee. What does that mean?
That they're acceptable to change.
Okay, or that you have a flexible schedule. All right, so after school, I don't have anything except for homework, so I have a fairly flexible schedule. Or I'm available on weekends, so I have a flexible schedule. You're going to say, this is what they said in their job description they needed. You have to think, how can I prove I have what they're looking for? They wrote it. So this is like a study guide. When you read a job description, that's a study guide. What is it they're looking for? What do I have? And then how do I prove I have that? Does that all make sense? Interviews are fairly easy because you're given the study guide. You already passed the test they want to talk to you. So now think of those things that they're looking for and think of how you have proof. And you can do an interview anytime. At the end of an interview, they're going to say, do you have any questions? What do you want to answer back? Any idea? Do you have any questions? Yes, you always have a question. Always, always, always. So think of something. And if you can't, the best way to punt would be, you know, well, I was going to ask you how many employees you have, but you answered that when you gave me that tour. That was really nice. Or I was going to ask how many days a week you thought I might be working, but you have already answered that. So maybe that wasn't your question, but something they've already answered, you can grab and say, I had that as a question. So just kind of a little way to cheat there, but you want to have questions. Think of those questions. Can I walk into an interview with something to write on or things already written out? Or is that no good? What do you think? Bring a notebook. Bring a notebook. Grab a pen or a pencil or something to write with. Have thought of some questions in advance and write things as they tell you things. You're engaged. You're showing them that you care. So feel free to write things. Or even if it's not a question, do you mind, I was just curious how soon you think you'll be making a decision. Is that, do you have a right to know that? You do, okay? What is the next step? And they may simply slough it off and say, well, we still have a few more interviews, and now you still don't know an answer, but you're welcome to ask when their next decision is. Now, what about money? Do we talk about money?
No.
Good. Until you made that offer right now, you're not gonna talk about money. So in your initial interview, you want them to make the offer, and then you can talk. Now, maybe the money was already decided in the beginning because it was in the job description, but maybe it's not. So in your first, the whole reason you're there is not about the money. That's not your answer. It's because you're interested in working for this wonderful company that has great benefits or, you know, good reason for you to be able to advance. Those are type of things that you want to look for. Does that all make sense? All right, so I'm all done. I've had a great interview. I thank you. Again, I thanked you. I thank with a handshake. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet me. I've walked out the door. What do you think I should do next? Why'd you guys get so quiet all of a sudden? Holy moly. Ideas? What should I do? Write a thank you note. Send a thank you email. Somehow get your name back in their face one more time. I don't care if you walk out to your car, you've got a little piece of paper, and I don't want you ripping it out of a notebook. Maybe you have a thank you note you're all ready and you're gonna handwrite it and walk back in and hand it. Maybe you're sending an email in some way, shape, or form you want to thank them. Depending on what the business is, on how formal I would say you wanna get with this. But if we're talking first jobs, retail job, fast food job, make sure you find a way to thank them. If they handed you a card and there's an email on there, you go home and you send that thank you note within hours. Maybe they're making that decision and they're like, whoop, I just heard from Nick and Nick said he wanted to thank me. What a nice touch, that's great. How many kids do that? None. Big, good, right? Okay, so you wanna follow up. Now, there are two different types, and they're in here, two different types of interview questions, traditional questions. Tell me a little bit about yourself. That's a traditional question. Another one might, tell me what are your greatest accomplishments, versus a behavioral question. So tell me about a time when you had a problem you needed to solve and how you solved it. Whoa, I really gotta think. Okay, so you're gonna have to come up with an example, a situation. So behavioral questions are going to make you think. Prior to doing executive internship, I travel and tourism, so most of my students were going for work in hotels. And they would go for interviews and theirs were behavioral. What's going to happen when a guest shows up at 11 o'clock at night and we're sold out, we don't have any rooms left, and they have a reservation? How would you handle that? So, they've given you a problem to solve. They want to know how good a problem solver are you, and you're going to have to come up with a solution. So, those are behavioral questions, a little tougher, as you're digging into things that you really have done. But remember, what are they looking for? They're looking for a good problem solver, so I'm going to have to simply say, I don't know, I guess I'd send them back out the door. Oh, heavens no, you're not going to send them out the door. You've got to make them happy. So how would you make them happy? What can you do? How are you going to solve this problem? Does that make sense? So, there are traditional and there are behavioral questions. Little page with a graph at the top, I think is going to surprise you. In your interview, when you present yourself, the largest piece of our pie is green. And green is what?
Nonverbal.
Nonverbal. Meaning the way you sit, the way you answer your questions in your tone. As far as coming through what I have confidence, I look professional, I look the part. This is the nonverbal part, you are going to hire me. All right, the tone in which you say it is the blue part. So again, I'm speaking with confidence. I'm not whispering my answers. I'm not looking down and I'm not saying, well, I'm not really sure if this is the right answer, but I guess I would probably see, okay, no confidence there.
My mom would talk about articulation to me.
Nice.
And really taught me about that.
And tell me what that means to you.
Articulation means to be very literate.
Okay.
And so it shows that you are very sophisticated and you know how to talk.
Very good. Okay, so give me some details. explaining, not just answering, well, I guess I'm outgoing. Really? Well, how do I have any indication of that? So you would want to get articulate to say, by doing this and this and this, I think this shows that I'm an outgoing person. And so you want to be able to do that. But if you notice on here, the red, 7% of this pie, that's like not even a snack, has to do with how you are answering the questions. So it's more of, when an interview is two things. They're wanting to find out if you're going to fit with the company. I'm going to make you work with her. She's really hard to work with. We found that from other people. She's looking for someone who's very detail-oriented and could hold their own. So you don't know that, but as an interviewer, I know what I'm hunting for. So the interview is done to find out, who are you? What are you bringing to the table? And can you hold your own with this one, who's kind of difficult to work with? We're looking for the personalities. We're looking for the traits. So when you're doing an interview, you have to bring as much of you forward, not only answering the questions the way you think they should be answered, but proving them. So you answer a question with a story. Well, I think I'm, have strong whatever skills. What's your best subject in school? Okay, so I have strong math skills. I have challenged myself and taken higher math classes throughout my high school career. Okay, there's a little story there. Or whatever it may be, you want to answer, but then back it up with some proof. Make some sense? All right, so on here, feel free to, because these are some questions, and then the way you're gonna wanna answer them, but if you go to the very back, we're gonna practice, because I know I only have a couple minutes. So, first question on here, tell me about yourself. Find them? Did I give you a handout? Did you already put it in? Okay, all right. So, tell me about yourself, or how would you describe yourself, is usually the first question that anyone's gonna ask. But, do they wanna know I'm 5'8", blonde hair, blue eye? That's telling you about myself. Is that what they wanna know?
No.
I think they can see that one, right? Even if it's a phone interview and they can't see it, that's not what they wanna know. So, go back to that job description. Take a look at what it is they really are going to want from you, so that you can answer this question. Anybody willing? I'm gonna make you all do something here, so pick the easy one. Who's willing to tell me a little bit about yourself? Everybody's eyes go down. It's like, if I don't look at you, you can't see me. Okay, you're not an ostrich. I do see you. So somebody give it a shot. Okay?
So just,
Tell me about yourself.
so I love school. I love every subject. I might have a few challenges in math and English. Never been a very good writer. But with those challenges, I also put myself forward and tell myself that I can do it and to get it done. I find that I love reading. I have a bookshelf and it's filled with books. It's one of my favorite hobbies. I'm in the band and choir, and I love music.
Nice. All right. So from that, first of all, someone come back and give me a description that would be good in a job that she just told us. Sure.
That one of her, I don't want to say the word, one of her,
Strengths, skills, weaknesses.
One of her weaknesses is she's not good at writing or anything, so she might have a false.
Okay. All right. I hear exactly what you're saying. So by saying I'm not a good writer, that could hurt her. If this job required that she has some writing, that maybe reports are part of the job, and if that's the case, it might have put a big flag up. So, good point that you want to pull that out. But on the other hand, give me a positive that you heard. Give me one.
She loves school.
Okay, and how is that as my business going to help me?
She pays attention.
Okay,
Involves herself in that.
all right. So, involved in things. What's another thing you heard?
That she has made, like, little flaws that she challenges herself to say that she can do it, she can achieve that, she can make it out of that little flaw. It'd still be around, but it'll say to her that she can still continue forward.
Perfect, okay. I liked that, I like challenges, okay? She challenges herself with things. A new job would be challenging. If you wanted to progress within my company, I'm going to present you with other challenges. And she's willing to take on a challenge. She told us that when she described herself. Everybody agree? So I agree, watch the negative things that might have hurt you, like she likes to read, not necessarily a great writer. If this job required you to write, you might have to watch out for that one. Anybody else willing to give this a try? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Currently, I'm a student here at Arvada, and one basic activity I do now is basically being a first year in a choir, an actual choir. Because previous years I never done this, and I'm actually happy to do it. As for learning skills, I have a flaw with talking to large amounts of people. I'm normally a nervous person, but I can listen to whatever discussion that's happening in class or in class mainly. That if it's important, I'm gonna learn it from them by listening to them. I'm gonna listen to what keywords they've said, or what I find as keywords to say that, okay, I will learn this bit by bit and progress forward from it.
Perfect, all right. What can we take away from that? What skills is it gonna bring to my company?
What skills he's going to bring to your company is that he's someone who's willing to try something new and put himself out there, and is willing to learn new things that he's never heard of before.
Awesome. So even by telling your story, I'm getting how that comes to my business and how it helps it. Does that make sense? So in telling your story, go back, read that job description. Remember that's your worksheet for your cheat sheet for the test. The test is the interview. They wrote a job description. They told you what they're looking for. And whatever they're looking for, you stop and think, how do I have that? Now how do I make sure that that gets into one of my answers? So they're looking for someone that's good with time management. Who wants to try how you would prove you're good with time management?
Basically, if it's in case of being an interview, it's always arrive a couple minutes, 10, whatever amount of minutes you have to arrive earlier than expected. Don't
Okay.
have 1 minute in, little break, then go to the interview immediately. That's just though your time management is not the word, no. It's basically showing the interviewer that though you can make the time management, you're not showing how you can do it. You're not showing that you're patient to wait.
So you're proving it to them. Good. What else is time management? What about schoolwork, homework, plus choir, plus band, plus anything else you're involved in, and yet you are still able to get your homework done? Okay, so I feel I'm really good at time management because I'm taking 6 classes at school. One of them is a subject that I'm not necessarily great at, but has the most homework. And so I make sure my homework is done every night, plus I'm also in the band, and I'm successful in doing all of those things, so I'm good at time management. Some proof that talks to them about how the one thing they were looking for, I can do. Does that make sense? Okay, all right. One other thing I want to bring up, and I know I'm running low here, but that you have to think, as a teacher, when we go to school, we're told that students learn in different ways. Okay? Teachers, I'm up here expecting all of you to be great auditory learners. That means I can talk to you and you're all listening. You just addressed that a minute ago. Not very many students actually are really good at auditory learning. Most of them are better at visuals, correct? All right, and then there's kinesthetic, which we all love. That means the hands-on stuff. So that's why students love labs and things like this. But if you think of an interview, most interviews are auditory learning. So maybe they're meeting, bless you, maybe they're meeting 5 people. And they've got their set of questions, 5 questions to ask these 5 people, and they're all answering the same way. I'm hearing it over and over again. If you want to consider, one of the things that I have my interns do, they take a notebook, like this, and they put pieces in it about them. Certificates that you got, you know, proof that you're in band, piece of music that you had for choir, it doesn't matter, it's a visual piece. And if you want, you go into an interview and you say, do you mind if I show you about myself? This is, now, anybody in any sports team or anything like that? Yeah?
I played softball
Okay,
for
all
the
right.
varsity team.
So, you have a varsity softball certificate. And it's not so much that I'm gonna take my notebook and say, this is the certificate that I got for playing varsity softball. Do you really care? No. It's what you say is, I was a varsity softball player, that's the certificate for that. But here's what I learned by being on the softball team, is, what did it teach you?
You always need to give all that you have, like, never give up, always.
Is softball an individual sport? Did you go out there all by yourself?
No, it's a team sport.
Okay, play off of that.
Okay, so I've learned to work well with others and be able to communicate, be able to support the others as well.
Okay, so she worked with others. If I have a business, do I want people to work with me? Do they be working as part of a team? All right, so her softball goes into that. Bring you, what you brought to your softball team. Can you tell me something?
I was able to bring positive attitude into every game, every practice.
Okay,
So I was able to.
and how important was your performance for that team? Did you feel that what you were, you know, it's your turn up to bat, or you're out in the field, whatever position you played, did you feel an importance to do your best?
Yes, because if someone isn't doing their part, then it can affect everyone.
Okay, would that be true of my business?
Yes.
Yes. My business is a group of people that have to have individual pride in whatever your job is for the good of my business, which for you is the softball team. So you're an individual who I knew I had to do my best because my best was going to help the good of the team. And if you relate that to a business, it's exactly the same. I have a group of people, I want my business to be successful, so my individual part is very important to the benefit of the entire company, and we as a team have to work together. So yours is actually pretty easy to bring out. Does that make sense? It will be the same with choir, it will be the same with band. You can't go march along the field out there, what do you play?
I played trumpet.
Okay, so if you were the only thing out there, how exciting would that song be?
Not very.
Not very. But if they didn't have any trumpets, what would that song be like? Not as good. So are you hearing how you can bring things that you're doing in your life as an individual for the betterment of the team and use that in an analogy in your interview? That make sense? Kind of? A little bit? All right. Next question. How would your teachers describe you? Ooh. All right. How honest do we want to be in this answer? Really?
Honest.
No, you don't want to lie. But do you want to pull out the teacher who's not going to say the nicest things about you? Well, they'd say I'm always late. Is that what I want to hear? No, that's not the teacher. We're not going to talk about that teacher. Okay, so you want to find the good things that a teacher would say. And what are some of the things that a teacher might say?
They're hardworking.
Hardworking. A good problem solver. Okay, they participate in class.
Works well with others.
Works well with others. What might a teacher say?
On task.
On task.
You're auditory, like you listen to what they're teaching.
Okay.
They
You're a good listener. Good listener's just fine.
I think that like you're determined to like do your work, like, or you're committed to the class, I guess.
Okay. You always do your work.
Yeah.
Friendly in the classroom.
All right. Friendly, responsible, reliable, on to all kinds of things. Every single one of those skills, I want someone in my business that has those. Agree? So you just heard all kinds of things that your teacher might say about you. All right. What do you like best about school? And it can't be friends. Even though friends, unless you want to spin this one, maybe it could be. But for the most part, you're here because your friends are here. I get it. All right, but what do you like most about school? What are some things that would make a good answer?
Like for the example I gave is like when someone is teaching me something that I don't know much about, but I've heard some of it, and I want to learn more from it. Like, I want to learn a little bit more to get the concepts through to my mind. Like, okay, this is what, like, for chemistry, like, this is how you do unit conversions or electronic conversions. And this is like something, though I'm not generally skilled in, I want to learn more to like say, okay, I can do this like whenever I can get my hands on it.
Perfect. So you're using school as the avenue to be able to learn those things you wouldn't be able to learn.
So for me, it's not what I really learn about, because the things that I learn about in school aren't really what I'm gonna be doing in life. But it's more about having a passion to, you know, of what you wanna be to grow up, and having that education and just getting through high school to get to college is what I'm striving for.
Perfect. So it's a step. I'm going to learn all I can while I'm in high school so that I have that opportunity when I go to college. I have a good foundation. Nice. Anything else? I got the 2-minute number back there. So, questions about interviews in general. We know we need to dress nice. We know we're going to shake hands. We're going to be friendly. We're going to speak up. Yeah?
If you have long hair, should it be pulled back? Or
If you're going for a job in a kitchen where that would be true, I would say yes. The way you are right now, I think you're fine. For an interview, I think you're fine. So it depends, again, on the situation and the position. Now, if I did this, okay, am I okay to come in to where I'm constantly doing this number? I have lots of kids that do that. It drives me crazy, okay? So you don't want it in your face, or you don't want it, and many girls get nervous. This is what they do when they're nervous. You twirl your hair. If you're a hair twirler, pull it back so you can't get to it, okay? Many people, and this is a pen, no, it's a pencil. Who's got a pen? Anybody? All right. I get a lot of people that come in for interviews, and it's the clicky pen, and they sit there and click it the whole time. Are you aware you're doing it? Not at all. You're nervous, and don't take a clicky pen so that you don't have that to make that noise, because in the meantime, that's driving me crazy, right? But good question. What else? Dot, anything to add that you can think of?
Nope, it's time to go. I just wanted to make sure that everybody's gonna be here on Friday. You're gonna be here right at 3:30. And I have emailed you gave them the list of interview questions and answers.
There are interview questions and answers, not your interview questions and answers. No, I did not give them that.
Okay. Can I have yours, just so I give those to the interviewers, so they ask the questions that you gave?
Is that it? It's just common interview questions.
Okay, perfect. Absolutely.
Okay?
Okay. So take a look at those interview questions, practice them out loud, and the people that'll be interviewing with you on Friday, they're super nice, wonderful, caring, kind people. So don't be nervous, don't be stressed about it at all. This is a practice for you, okay? Smile and be excited about it. We don't want you to be nervous at all.